Well, welcome back. Mr. Obsolete here. Today, the video is going to be in two parts. First part, we're going to be talking about antique machinery again. Last video we did showed how a grist mill grinds up grain and wheat and corn, all kinds of stuff. So you can make animal feed, or you can make flour for making cornbread and different things like that. But a number of people asked how you get the corn off the cob. Well, one way is just take it off by hand, but it's a slow process. And so, talking about history, it's amazing what people used to come up with without computers. They actually had to think about what they were doing. So anyway, like I say, people used to be pretty inventive. And the fellow that designed this is Mr. A.H. Patch. And corn shelling used to be a really tedious and horrible job, and so he decided he was going to invent something, and he made a couple of different designs, and the first ones weren't very successful. But this one, the Black Hawk, he put it into production in 1887, and it's very simple, but it really speeds up the process tremendously and doesn't take a whole lot of physical effort to operate it. And the thing that's interesting is that this design was so good, it won all kinds of different things, Columbian Exposition and stuff, where they had machinery from all around the world. This came in first, and this was better than most any other corn sheller. Amazing thing is it's still in production today. So anyway, we'll show you how the different parts of it, and then we'll show it operating. Cast right on the face of this plate here says made by A.H. Patch, Clarksville, Tennessee, USA. Down here it says Black Hawk corn sheller. So anyway, it mounts on a box here that has these clamps so you can loosen, tighten, so you can put it on different widths of wood and whatnot. How it works, you crank it like this, and down inside here you can see a bunch of teeth. That's what takes the corn off the cob there. And then this piece here is spring loaded, so that when you put a cob down in here, it'll open and close depending on how big in diameter this is, so you don't have to go back and adjust it. It's all automatically done. Pretty inventive for the late 1800s. So we'll show you it in operation here. I'll be right back. See how the cob, once it's done, comes out the side here. Pretty ingenious. See that? Quick and efficient. See, that takes all the kernels right off there. Anyway, be back with another device. Okay, well, our next device here is another grist mill. This is made by the C.S. Bell Company. They started out in 1858, and they are still in business today. They were a big supplier. In fact, this particular model number 2 here, you can buy a brand new one still today. So anyway, this particular one is one I inherited from my grandparents. And before I was a teenager, if I were at my grandparents on a weekend, or in the evening or something, and Grandma wanted some wheat ground up, we'd go out and grind it up on this, and she'd make bread with it. But And then we'll put it on with our Stover clamp here again, C-clamp. I wasn't sure about how old these are, but after I did a little research and stuff, these are over 100 years old and still totally viable and usable today. So, anyway, get the corn ready here and be right back. Okay, well, we'll put our corn in here and grind away. There you go. Chickens will be happy. So we'll do an adjustment and make it a little coarser. And we'll come to the back side here and see how it comes out the chute. There you go. Well, in our last video I showed this little device made by the Stover company, and like I say, it's the housing, and it's got a blade in here. And I didn't say what it was, but a couple of you figured it out. This is what's called an ice shaver. So refrigerators used to be ice boxes before they were refrigerators, and so they had people come around and deliver ice, and put a big block of ice on the top of the device there, and the cold air would come down. So if you wanted a nice shaved ice for your drink or your lemonade or whatever like that, loosen this up and adjust the blade down, and then you go across like that on ice, and when this gets full of ice, you open it up and then dump it down the chute here into your cup. So that's a pretty early one. Now here's a later one. This even says ice shaver right on it. North Brothers Manufacturing Company, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. You can see it's a lot bigger. Same idea. Has a plate here, and there's a blade right here, and the opening here, and then you adjust it down and shave your ice, and you got it full. Dump it into your cup. There's a little grinder for sharpening knives and stuff like that, hand powered. It's made by the Superior company. But the thing on all of these hand-operated devices is that prior to World War II, almost no rural communities in the whole United States had electricity. So either you did it by hand, on the bigger equipment, you ran it with a gas engine. Got one little goodie to show you yet here. Well, our last little item here is a vintage ice cream maker. So the other items we've showed you are all for doing work. This is for doing fun, even though it's a lot of work to make the ice cream. So how these work, inside of here is a drum. You put your cream and sugar and all the different ingredients in it. And around this opening here, you put broken ice in it. And then you use rock salt, and that makes it a lot colder, and so you crank this thing. Noisy little rascal. Anyway, it spins around and there's a paddle in there and it stirs the mixture, and it starts to freeze from the outside and it gets into the center. And then when it's really hard to pull through, then you know it's done. So the second half of the video is we're going to be going over to the neighbors. He called and said he had a blowdown tree that he wanted me to see if I'd cut up for him. So we'll see you at the tree. Well, here it is. I think it's pretty close to about 50 feet. And about 2 years ago the top blew out of it and I cut it up for firewood. But the problem with this, where it was leaning the wrong way, and I didn't have any climbing gear to go up the tree and tie it and pull it over, so we just hope for the best it would just fall down someday. Well, here it is. And anyway, we'll come over and take a look at the top, and then we'll go take a look at the bottom. Well, here we are at the bottom of the tree. You can see it's totally rotten. So anyway, when we come back to cut it up, we'll measure the butt there, and it looks to me like it's probably about 34 inches, so we'll see how close I am. This tree, what killed it were the beetles. And there's little holes all over under the bark here where they bore in and they eat all the stuff out of it, and then there's holes in it. Those are from woodpeckers. And, you can see the little bore holes right here. They get in and under the bark there and eat all the nutrients and stuff, and then it just turns rotten as can be. So what we're going to do to cut it up, we have a contest between two saws. And we'll start out with Mr. Cheesy, our Steel 034. Since it's a real fast cutter on rotten wood, but as the diameter of the tree gets bigger, they don't have any torque, so we'll see if it stalls out and stuff, and if it does, then we'll cut it up with a McCulloch Promax 650, which has torque. It'll be an interesting contest, so vintage will be best. It'll be interesting. We'll see you on the next exciting vintage video.